Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju ki jai. Nitya Lila Vishram Vishnupara Sutara Sutta Shishimar Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja Śrīla Gurudev ki jai. Nitya Lila Vishram Vishnupara Sutara Sutta Shishimar Bhaktivedānta Mahārāja ki jai. Vishnu Vishnupad Sutta Sutta Shishmad Bhaktivedānta Swami Mahārāja Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai. Nitya Vishnu Vishnupad Sutta Sutta Shishmad Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Mahārāja ki jai. Nitya Vishnu Vishnupad Sutta Sutta Shishmad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. Nitya Vishnu Maha Bhagavat Śrīla Gaurkṣaras Babaji Mahārāja ki jai. Nitya Pavishra Śrīla Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki jai. Nitya Pavishra Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Śrīla Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Shri Rupa Anugarya Guru Varga ki jai. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Bhattadash Raghunath Sharda Goswami Prabhu ki jai. Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda ki jai. Namachay Śrīla Haridas Thakur ki jai. प्रेम से को श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जय. श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल ब्रज मंडल मथुर वृंदावन धाम की जय. सर्व अभिष्ट विराट गिरिराज महाराज की जय. श्री राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड की जय. श्री यमुना देवी गंगा देवी की जय. श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जय. श्री भक्ति देवी की जय. श्री पूर्णमासी योगमाया की जय. Okay, what is it today? So many things, so many, let's see. Shri Vishnu Priya Devi ki jai, Tadiya Shubha Avirbhav Titi ki jai. Shri Puṇḍarīka Vidyānidhi ki jai, Tadiya Shubha Avirbhav Titi ki jai. Shri Srila Raghunath Das Goswami Pad ki jai, Tadiya Shubha Avirbhav Titi ki jai. Shri Raghunandan Thakur ki jai, Tadiya Shubha Avirbhav Titi ki jai. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur ki jai, Tadiya Shubha Tirobhav Titi ki jai. Nitya Pravishya Srila Bhakti Vivek Bharati Goswami Maharaj ki jai, Tadiya Tirobhav Titi ki jai. Srila Bhakti Sarup Parvat Goswami Maharaj ki jai, Tadiya Shubha Tirobhav Titi ki jai. Shri Vasanta-pañcamī ki jai. Saraswati Devi ki jai. Saraswati Puja ki jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Hari Bo, Madhavi Didi and Rup Manjari Didi and Shash Sharma ji. Pranams to all of you. So, today is a very big day, and I didn't really plan out what to read today. I think I'm mostly going to be reading from this book here by Rup Manjari Didi's Gurudev, Śrīla Bhakti Vallabha Tīrtha Goswami Maharaj. But first, I'm going to start off reading from, what is it? I'm going to read from this book, Nectar of Govinda-līlā by my Śrīla Gurudev. He talks about Vasanta-pañcamī. And then after we'll read from this book, Sri Caitanya and his associates, also known as Gaur Parashad Charitabali, in the original Bengali. Alright, so I'm just sharing my screen. Yeah. Vasanta-pañcamī. So this is from chapter 4 of Nectar of Govinda-līlā by my Śrīla Gurudev. Let's make it. Yeah. Vasanta-pañcamī is the first day of Vasant. Oh wait, let me check the sound really quick. Oops. Now the sound should be better. Okay. Vasanta-pañcamī. Vasanta-pañcamī is the first day of the Vasant, or spring season. Vasanta-pañcamī and the spring season have their own special importance, and especially Hindu people celebrate this with great respect. On this day, we pick the mustard flour, barley, and wheat, and offer them to our favorite deity. From today, taking drums, kartals, and different kinds of instruments, we play Vasanta ragas, special melodies for the spring season, and the festival of Holi begins. There will be so many songs and kirtans, and all are related to Radha and Krishna. In previous times, this was done even more, but now society has changed somewhat. Still, there is great enthusiasm for this festival. This time of year, in the trees, creepers, animals, birds, and any conscious entity, ras seems to increase. In the mango tree, flower buds will certainly appear. In the groves of mango trees, the cuckoo will eat these buds and start making a cuckoo sound. The trees and creepers will shed their old leaves and change, and be newly decorated with new soft red leaves. It is as if they have come to participate in Sri Krishna's Vasanti Ras, and with their new decoration, they are encouraging him. All nature at once changes. Such is the spring season. Also in Vraj, from this very day, Krishna and the gopis begin their Vasanti Ras. There is one ras called Sharadiya or Autumn Ras, and another called Vasanti Ras. So on this Vasanti Ras, on this day in Bengal, there is worship of the goddess Saraswati. Bengal is mainly a province of Shaktas, those who worship Shakti, potency. From the potency of Radhika comes Saraswati and Durga. And according to our line of thought, there is no special difference between Saraswati and Durga. With great decoration, the Bengalis worship Saraswati, the goddess of knowledge. We worship Shuddha Saraswati, the dear potency of Bhagavan who makes the jivas move in the direction. There is also Vimalananda Saraswati, who is the servant of Shuddha Saraswati and another form of her. Vimala means pure. She who in pure form gives great pleasure, Ananda, to Krishna. She who in pure form gives great pleasure, Ananda, to Krishna, is known as Vimalananda Saraswati. She bestows knowledge throughout the entire universe, and the people of the world serve her. Because Shuddha Saraswati is the root cause of the good opportunity to hear pure Harikatha, first of all, we should offer pranam to her, and then we may make an effort to enter into everything related to Vasanti Ras. One second, I'm just going to unlock my door so that. Krishna has different rasas at different times. Amongst them, Sharadiya Ras and Vasanti Ras have their own special importance. To give great pleasure to all of the Nitya Siddha Gopis and Sadhan Siddha Gopis, Krishna commences the Sharadiya Ras. No activity or pastime of Krishna is done for his own pleasure, whereas any activity that we do, even up to serving the deity, is done for our own pleasure. We are serving the Guru for what? To get some future pleasure from it, so that we will attain something. We may be performing bhajan, but in doing that, the idea of giving Krishna is secondary. It should be the prime consideration. But in our conditioned state, we are serving merely for our own peace of mind. That which we do for ourselves is not bhakti. Gradually, when what we do becomes solely for the pleasure of Krishna and his associates, then only will it be bhakti. It must be purely for Krishna, for Radha, for their associates, and then it will be Shuddha Bhakti, unalloyed devotion. Krishna is himself the crown jewel of those who are Atma-rama and Apta-kama. He has no unfulfilled desire. All of his desires are satisfied, so he doesn't need to take anything from anyone to become complete. In living entities, we find this quality of incompleteness. In our happiness, knowledge, renunciation, or whatever, we are not complete. By taking from Krishna or taking from other people, we want to become complete. But Krishna is Atma Rama and Apta Kama. He needs nothing to enjoy but seeing the desires of his devotees. He needs nothing to joy. He needs nothing to enjoy. But upon seeing the desires of his devotees, the desire to enjoy arises within him. Bhagavan apita ratri sharadot pulamalika viksharantu manaschakre yoga mayam upashritaha. That's from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:29-1. Bhagavan Sri Krishna, witnessing the arrival of those autumn nights scented with blossoming jasmine flowers, desired to enjoy loving affairs, and for this purpose he employed his Yoga Maya potency. Bhagavan is Aptakam, but still there is some desire in his heart because he is a Rasik, and also Raso Vaisaha, the emporium of Ras. There is also desire in the hearts of the gopis to taste that ras. Although Krishna is Atma Rama and Aptakama, today he'll be drowned in ras because within the gopis is the desire that Krishna will be pleased. For this purpose, they worshipped the goddess Katyayani, and 1 year before, during the month of Kartik, she gave them a boon, and now their hearts are eager for the fulfillment of that boon. The description of Sharadiya Ras has been given in Srimad Bhagavatam, and it is very beautiful and pleasing to the heart. Vasanti Ras has been described in Gita Govinda by Sri Jayadev Goswāmī. One other topic of Ras, Ashcharya Ras, has been described by Prabodhananda Saraswati in a small book of Sanskrit poetry named Ashcharya Ras Prabandha. What is the meaning of Ras? Mandali Vadya Nritya. When, in an independent way, one hero and many different heroines come together and dance playing scriptural music, it is called ras. This particular type of dancing has been described in the scriptures, and we do not see that this ras is performed by any other incarnation of Bhagavan besides Krishna. They are able to do it, but we have not. So then what to speak of any human being? If any human does this, it is called lust and considered degraded behavior. When those devotees who, for millions of births, have rejected worldly desires and pleasures and have performed bhajan with the sentiment of the gopis, for the pleasure of Krishna, they meet together in a group in an independent, free way, dancing to different instruments, playing scriptural music. That is ras. But the scriptures have accepted this in relation to Krishna only and rejected any possibility of it being related to anyone else. Krishna and the gopis are engaged in the ras dance for each other's pleasure. And in this, there's a weird smell. Krishna and the gopis are engaged in the ras dance for each other's pleasure. And in this, there is such an increase in prem that you will not find it fully described in any scripture. Therefore, itself, the crown jewel of all performers of pastimes, has said, upon coming together for this ras dance, what has happened within my heart? In my heart, what are the feelings, and how are they arising? Just as milk is heated and boils over, the waves within Krishna's heart are such that he himself is unable to describe them. And it is the same for the gopis also. When you have forgotten your own body, elevated personalities, such as Vyasadeva in the trance of meditation, saw this phenomenon from a position of neutrality. Otherwise, they would have become emotionally involved in it and become bewildered also. The gopis were bewildered. Krishna was bewildered. And unless one was seeing it from an aloof position, one would not be able to describe it. Therefore, Vyas was able to describe a little of it. The goddess Katyayani had given the gopis a boon, and on the day of Sharadiya Purnima, Krishna saw the moon in a special way. In the autumn season, when the moon is full, there are no clouds, smoke, or dust in the sky, and all becomes clear. The season itself is very beautiful. It is not too hot or too cold, and by the influence of the moon, all kinds of flowers bloom. In the early evening, the sun sets, and the full moon casts red rays on his dear one, the personification of the eastern direction. Our commentators have said that when Krishna saw the moon, he remembered, "Oh, yes, we are members of the Chandra, the moon dynasty, and the original head of the Chandra dynasty is this very Chandra." Nights, the indication has arisen in my heart that the eastern direction is really the wife of Surya, the sun. I am similarly applying color to the faces of the gopis, meaning that I am enjoying amorous pastimes with them. And in this, there is no fault, especially since I am actually the husband of the entire world. Seeing the moon, this inspiration arose in him. At that time, he had remembered that a boon had been given to the gopis who had been performing austerities for millions of births, and it was Purnima, the full moon, and the last day of the month for puja. They were new gopis, young girls, and they gave invitations to Radha, Vishaka, Lalita, and all the gopis of Braj Mandal. Today, please come and join us in our puja. So on that day, when their worship was to be completed, Radhika, Vishaka, and Lalita joined them. But they didn't participate in the worship. Why? Because they had already been married. So for them, there was no necessity of saying, "We desire to have the son of Nanda as our husband." But all of them were present there. And on that very day, Krishna took their clothes and gave them all a boon. He thought, "Today I will fulfill the desires of their hearts." He played his flute, and when all of the gopis came there, he said, "I have already had of all of you, so now please return home. Your duty is to serve your husbands." The gopis replied, "Who in this world can be a guru like you? You are our Gurudev. There is no instruction as beautiful as which you have just given us, telling us to serve our husbands. There is no greater instruction than this. So then you are our Guru. Previously, we were offering puja to Katyayani, and now we have attained your service. So you are our Gurudev. Therefore, we have offered before, and if you don't, you are not fulfilling your words, and the reaction to committing aparad will come upon you. Ye yata mam prapadyante tang sadaiva bhajamyaham. Bhagavad Gita 4:11. As they surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. These are your words. Please, desires of our worship. To you, we have only brought ourselves. To you, we have only brought ourselves. We have nothing more to offer you. So please be happy. There's a monkey in my room. Oh my God. Hey! What? Sorry, guys. A monkey was just in the room going through Caitanya's stuff. Kept his stuff on. Oh, God. Anyways, let's continue. What did I just read? To you, we have brought only ourselves. We have nothing more to offer you. So please be happy. Before, in our puja, we offered dried fruit, rock candy, and sweets. Whatever we had, we offered to Katyayani in our puja. But in reality, it was all meant for you. Please accept it. Otherwise, you are not fulfilling your words. Krishna could not defeat them with words. In his description of Ashcharya Ras, Prabodhananda Saraswati has shown these things a little differently. He has written that on that day, Krishna called through the flute, Radhe, Radhe, and each of the gopis thought, he is calling my name. Jago Kalam Bama Darsham Manoharam at Srimad Bhagavatam 10:29-3. The meaning of this is very beautiful. Jago means played, and Manoharam means he who steals the heart. He played his flute in such a way as to steal the attention of the whole world, and all the gopis became automatically attracted. Krishna, by his beauty, by his qualities, by his affection, by his ras, and by all the other specialities of his style, stole the hearts of all living entities. He sent a messenger from house to house. How did he send it? By his lips, through the medium of his flute. By his lips, through the medium of his flute, all the ras of his heart was expressed in his calling of the gopis. The wood of the flute bamboo is generally dry, but he injected it with a ras. He gave a little blow into the flute, and from it came a very peculiar vibration, the likes of which he could not have made with his mouth alone. Emerging from the flute, the vibration saw that in the entire universe there was no fit receptacle for it. So it crossed over the entire material universe, the entire Brahmanda. Going up from there, it also crossed Vaikuntha and even crossed Mathura and Dwarka. Entering Vraj, this sweet vibration stunned and bewildered everyone and put them to sleep. All of the other ladies of Vraj became unconscious and knew nothing of what was happening. The Sakas also remained sleeping. Then, from making the gopis give themselves to Krishna, that vibration arrived at their ears, and that the door was open. Coming across an open door, it immediately entered through the medium of their ears and came to the most valuable of all things, their hearts. The patience of the heart, the fear and shyness towards Guru, whatever was there, it plundered everything. And only when it was leaving did the gopis come to know of it and say, "Where have our hearts gone?" They saw that a thief had come and is going away. Where? In the direction from which that vibration came. So they ran there. When I joined the mission, there was an older brahmachari who would sit on the corner and chant japa, facing the wall so that nothing would distract him. Every day he would chant 1 lakh of Harinam. One day, while he was sitting quietly and chanting, he heard a noise, and not fully to his external senses, he looked to one side and saw a thief escaping with the money box. As he got up to pursue the thief, his dhoti began to fall down, so he clutched it with one hand. With the other hand, he was still chanting, taking Harinam. He's still chanting. He didn't leave his Harinam. In this very state, with one hand on his chanting beads and the other holding up his dhoti, yelling, "Thief! Thief!" he ran after him. Then his foot got caught in his dhoti and he almost fell. At that time, he was not completely to his external senses. So how could he catch the thief? He couldn't catch him, but he ran after him in that condition anyway. Finally, more people came and the thief was caught. At the time when Krishna played the flute, the gopis were in a similar condition. It was early evening. One gopi was serving her husband. Another was milking a cow. Another was cooling milk by pouring it from one vessel to another. Another was decorating herself, and others were doing other things. If the thief comes, if there is a delay of even 1 moment, it won't be possible to catch him. Therefore, the gopis immediately ran after him. Some had applied makeup to only one eye, and the remaining hands as they left. Others, in a bewildered state, dressed themselves in a disorderly fashion, and as they went, their clothes were dragging on the ground. Not fully externally aware, they arrived at the arena of Ras. This is called Sharadiya Ras. During that Ras, Krishna's dearmost gopi exhibited some jealous anger. Krishna was thinking, I am enjoying with so many gopis. No one is as no one is as fortunate as me. But this gopi thought, all are equal to me? He told me that I was the dearest to him, and here I see that he is a liar. He is dancing and singing with everyone. Therefore, she exhibited man, jealous anger. Then Krishna grabbed her and disappeared on the path. The gopis began searching and searching. They saw a pair of footprints, and along with them was the footprint of some kishori. One group of gopis understood whose footprint that was, but the Sakis in the mood of Chandravali didn't understand whose it was. Anayaradito nu nang Bhagavan Haririshvara yam no vihaya Govinda pritto yam anayadraha. That's Srimad Bhagavatam 10:30-28. The gopis thought, certainly this particular gopi has worshipped Sri Govinda the best. Therefore, he has left us and taken only her with him. Those who were servants of that gopi recognized her footprint and were very, very happy. Today the Lord has taken our Saki and vanished. As they went further and further, these gopis felt increasing ananda, but the others were feeling separation. We see that her footprints stop here. Where has she gone? Definitely that gopi has become tired, and therefore he lifted her up and carried her on his shoulders. When they went a little further ahead, the gopis noticed a place on the ground where someone had been sitting, and near it, some flowers had fallen. There were also some toe prints on the ground. It seems that here Krishna has stood on his toes to pick flowers, so here he has certainly decorated her with him. They went a little further ahead and saw that very Saki, alone and lamenting. And some said, oh, it was this Saki Krishna had taken with him. Seeing her crying and crying, the other gopis felt some sympathy for her. Leaving her behind, Krishna had gone on his way. Otherwise, they would have been jealous of her. There are so many beautiful things described there in chapters 29-33 of the 10th canto. And in the end, they again met Krishna. He appeared before them, a little ashamed, and said, Sakis, I am certainly very grateful to you. They put a question about loving reciprocation to him, and his answer was very beautiful. Here we complete our summary of Sharadiya Ras. Caitanya Mahaprabhu, Rai Ramananda, Sarup Damodar, and Srivas Pandit were together at the Ratha Yatra festival. It was the day of Vasanta-pañcamī. At that time, in a drama that was being enacted for the Lord's pleasure, Śrīla saw that the maidservants of Lakshmi had arrested the gopis and were harassing them. As a form of taxation, they were snatching their ornaments and punishing them. Very happily, they were playing horns, laughing and saying, Hey cowherds, you work only with milk, and you want to be equal to Lakshmi Devi, the goddess of fortune? Today we will teach you a good lesson. They were taking some of the gopis' clothing and beating them with that, and taking some taxation from them. Seeing all this, Srivas Pandit was very pleased and said, Just see, what is there in Vrindavan? The garlands there are composed merely of gunja flowers. Where would they get good quality ornaments? All they have are these ornaments made of flowers, and they are wearing these things. Their opulence is petty in comparison to the massive opulence of Lakshmi. Then Swarup Damodar said, What is the nature of the gopis' ankle bracelets? They are more valuable than the diamonds on Lakshmi Devi's head. Only these simple flowers are necessary for them to attract Sri Krishna. Since nothing else is necessary, their opulence is the highest. And in this way, he described the greatness of the gopis. Mahaprabhu said, He is correct. I agree that the prema of the gopis is the highest of all. It is even higher than that of Lakshmi. And amongst the gopis, who is the best? Swarup Damodar replied, Radhika. Radhika's prem is the most advanced of all. How? In the Ras Lila, Krishna left all others and vanished, taking only her. He took her in a deceptive way. Why with oops, has it been disconnected for a while? Why with deception? And Swarup Damodar said, because he was afraid of the other gopis. If he had taken her in front of everyone, then perhaps Chandravali and the others would have become jealous of Radhika's love. Mahaprabhu said, we don't want to hear about him stealing her, because the name of the particular gopi that he took is not mentioned in the Bhagavatam. It could have been Chandravali or any other gopi. Please tell us how Krishna directly considers Radha only to be the best. Here we turn to Jayadev's description of Vasanti Ras. So Jayadev Goswami says, my heart is palpitating. Sorry, guys. Give me a second. I need to bring Jayadev's stuff inside. Monkeys keep on trying to steal the things. All right, I'm back. Oh. Okay. I got Nitai. Nitai was very interested to hear about it. All right. Where am I? Sorry about that. I should keep the stick next. All right, so here we turn to Jayadev's description of Vasanti Ras. My heart is palpitating, for I desire to write such a thing, which in this life I have not written before, and which is not mentioned anywhere, that Krishna will fall at the feet of Radhika. We know it well, but Krishna is the supreme controller, the cause of all causes, and the source of all other incarnations. That he falls at the feet of his own potency, who is the form of his maidservant. I don't know if this is proper, but my heart is saying that without Krishna putting his I don't know if this is proper, but my heart is saying that without Krishna putting his head at her feet, she will not be appeased. I don't know if I am able to write it. Jayadev goes on to describe that on the plains of Giriraj Govardhan at Chandra Sarovar, Chandra remains throughout the whole of one of Brahma's nights. What is the duration of Brahma's night? Millions of yugas. In order to witness the Ras Lila, he stayed there, so it is called Chandra Sarovar. In the spring season, all of the fruits and flowers in Vrindavan come out. The she cuckoo starts her cuckoo sound. The peacock starts his ka sound, and it is as if the pigeons are playing the conch shell, making their ko sounds. They are all making their own sounds, and collectively, it sounds as if they are playing a shanai. In this way, all of the birds and animals become happy, and there is no one who is not dancing. Forming groups, Krishna and the gopis start dancing. All young, unmarried girls are present there, and they have been waiting for 1 year. For dancing with Krishna, for meeting Krishna, for a whole year, a fire of separation had been burning inside them. Not for themselves, not for lust, but for mitigating this separation. For really becoming immersed in Krishna's ras, one must enter into this poetry composed by Jayadev Goswami. Therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu his heart full of ras, at night would tell Sarup Damodar, "Please recite Gita Govinda for me." Hearing it, immediately his pleasure would increase. Sarup Damodar would read precisely what Caitanya Mahaprabhu desired to hear. Sometimes it was the poetry of Jayadev, sometimes Chandidas, sometimes Vidyapati, and sometimes he would read verses from the 5 chapters describing the Ras dance in Srimad Bhagavatam. The gopis were clapping their hands as if they were kartals, and they played drums, the veena, and the sitar. It was divinely beautiful as the gopis played one rag after another. So there are some melodies in which there is no ras, so they played only the rags that increased the ras. Krishna sang in a very high pitch and in different melodies. The gopis then sang one song in a higher pitch than Krishna. He wanted to sing higher, but couldn't, and he could only say, "Sadhu, sadhu, very nice, very nice." Krishna was dancing, and with Srimati Radhika, he danced with such speed and dexterity that he himself was astonished. And again he chanted, "Sadhu, sadhu." With one gopi, Krishna was holding hands. With another, he was dancing by jumping up and down. Another, he was embracing, and another, he was kissing on the hand. Sometimes, with his eyes half open in great prema, he would look in the direction of a particular gopi. He would follow a certain rhythm of racing behind one gopi after another, and this is how Vasanti Ras is described. In a fraction of a second, as short as the blink of the eyes, thousands more gopis arrived and started dancing. Radhika saw that at that time, Krishna's topmost supremely powerful potency, his Param Aishwarya Shakti, was not working. He had stopped it. Here he kept the cause behind his pastimes, Yogamaya, separate from him. He placed all of these potencies far away by telling them, "At this time you will not do anything. For now you just sit quietly and watch." In this pastime of Krishna, everything was forgotten. Here, because Aishwarya was not manifest, Krishna did not know that "I am Bhagavan," and the gopis did not know, "We are Ishwari, we are the root of Yogamaya." All this was forgotten. After a little while, Radhika saw, "Krishna is a big cheater. He is cheating me. He seems to be dancing only with me, but actually he is dancing with everyone. Only because of his speed and dexterity does it seem that he is alone with me." Then Radhika exhibited some man, jealous anger. If we feel this emotion, there is some selfishness in it. But in the hearts of devotees, there is no selfishness. In her heart, there is never any envy. But even if there is some, it is only a transformation of prem and mahabhav. Don't consider this to be a deformation, but rather an aspect of her variegatedness, her speciality. There is milk. Add some sugar, and it becomes sweet. Mix a little kevra, a little camphor, and other things, and it becomes more and more sweet and tasteful. Like this, Radhika has her own uniqueness, and for making Krishna even happier, she exhibited some man. She left the ras dance and went to a kunj. But then what happened? Upon arriving there, she felt remorse and thought, "Why did I leave Krishna's association? He didn't leave me, I left him. If there is any unfortunate woman, it is me. There is no one as un- there is no one as un- there is no one as unfortunate as me." Meanwhile, Krishna met one Saki and requested her, "Please go to Radha and tell her that Krishna is saying, 'I am very unhappy for you. In the future, I will never do such a thing as I did again, and you will always be happy. Please forgive me.'" The Saki then went to Radhika and, seeing her condition, said, "Why are you behaving like this? Leaving Krishna, you came here. He tried to please you, but you wouldn't accept it. So why are you upset?" Just then, Lalita appeared there and said, "Krishna is a liar. Don't trust him. Don't ever reveal your simplicity to him. Remain crooked. Otherwise, you won't be able to have straightforward dealings with him. He will never understand your value, so always remain crooked." The Saki tried in many ways to pacify Radhika, but she would not be appeased. When the Saki returned to Krishna and told him this, he said, "Somehow I must appease her." Then Krishna thought he would play a joke to appease her. Pretending to be very unhappy, His face became withered, and saying, now I am going. He left there and hid in a nearby kunj. Then some Sakis followed behind him, whispering, "Where is he going? Let us see." He entered a kunja and lay down amongst some large rocks. Seeing him lie down, the Sakis returned to Srimati Radhika, Lalita, Vishaka, and the others and told him, they told him, uh, sorry. So seeing Krishna lie down, the Sakis returned to Srimati Radhika, Lalita, Vishaka, and the others, and they told them, "He has gone to a nearby kunj. Being very unhappy and in pain from your separation, he was not able to go any further, and he has fallen asleep." They said, "Where?" The Sakis then led Radhika and the others to the kunja. They peered into the entrance of the kunja and saw that his face was covered. They couldn't tell if he was crying or sleeping or what he was doing. Then, moving closer, they saw that he was sleeping. His eyes were closed, and his face was a little covered. The gopis exchanged hand signals because at that time, their supreme enemy, the flute, was hanging loosely in his hand. They thought they should take it. They did not consider for a moment that they might be entering a trap, but just that they should take it. Then Radhika said, "Yes, we should take it, but who will do it? Who will tie the bell around the cat's neck? Who will take the responsibility of snatching the flute from his hands?" Friends, this is not a simple thing. His hand is like a snake. If someone approaches and tries to take the flute, the snake will bite him and give its poison, and it will never leave him. Therefore, who will dare to try? All of them thought together and concluded that it would not be possible for anyone except Srimati Radhika. So she said, "If all of you insist, then certainly I will try." Very, very slowly, just as a cat does, she crept closer. Walking very slowly and stealthily, smiling slightly and watching him, she went closer. But what was Krishna doing? He had heard everything that they had discussed amongst themselves, and feeling that he should enjoy himself a little, he thought, "If Radha is to be appeased, there must be some direct conversation between us." But there has not been such an opportunity. Therefore, I will let the flute be taken, and then I will see how I can talk to Radha. If I will ask each of them, "Where did you put my flute?" And in the course of asking all of them, I will eagerly come to Radha, and then I will get the chance. It will be a moment of great happiness. Hence, Krishna allowed his hand to become slack. Thinking him to be asleep, slowly Radhika crept near to him, and she saw that he was apparently deeply asleep. When someone is sleeping lightly, they can be easily awakened, but when someone is in deep sleep, you cannot easily awaken them. Krishna appeared to be sleeping like that. Quickly, she snatched the flute from his hands, and at once the gopis ran from the kunja. As they were all running with their long hair swinging to and fro, Krishna opened his eyes, saying, "Hari, Hari! Hey, where has my flute gone?" He ran outside of the kunja and said to the gopis, "You have stolen my flute." He said to each gopi, "Did you take it?" Until he came to Radha. She replied, "What will I do with this useless piece of bamboo? Yes, I took it, and I will burn it also. It is only one piece of bamboo. In our garden, we have thousands of sticks of bamboo, so what is the big deal about only one piece of bamboo? You can come and cut thousands and take them." In this way, they were mutually joking, but they didn't realize that Krishna was knowingly joking with them. Still, Radhika was not appeased, although internally she desired to meet Krishna. He had already been sending a messenger. He had already seen that sending a messenger would not do it. So what did he do next? He himself expanded into Shamali Saki. Assuming a very beautiful form, she approached the gopis with a basket of flowers in her hands, and in a sweet voice called out, "By rendering service to someone, I will mitigate all of their distress and fatigue, and they will become very happy." A monkey came and was going through your stuff, so I brought it in your bag inside. Really? Yeah. By rendering service to someone, I will mitigate all of their distress and fatigue, and they will become very happy. At that time, Radhika and the Sakis were feeling fatigued and unhappy. Seeing Shamali, really, Radhika did not recognize the Saki as being Krishna himself, and Lalita, Vishaka, and the others also did not recognize him. When Krishna assumes other forms, who will recognize him? Even when an ordinary actor changes dress, we cannot understand who it is. For this purpose, he employed Yogamaya, and therefore no one could recognize him. Shamali, pleased by Radhika giving her a flower garlands that emanated a special fragrance, Radhika thought, "Where has this fragrance come from? Whose fragrance is this?" Knowing it to be related to Krishna, she was very pleased. Shamali began saying to Radhika, "In this world, there is no one who is as kind, who has as many good qualities, who shows respects to everyone, and who is as grateful and who is as expert in all 64 arts as Krishna is. What to speak of just in Vrindavan, in the entire Brahmanda, there is no one equal to him. And you have so many good qualities, and you are so beautiful. So towards him, you should not commit any offense." Praising Krishna like this and praising Radha like this, Shamali proved that Krishna was not at fault. Radhika was fully appeased, and in the end, for her ultimate happiness, the final weapon was in his hand. Having returned to his original form, he said to Radhika, "In me there is a fire of separation, and only the touch of your feet can cool it. Therefore, be merciful and decorate my head with your feet, because by doing so, you will also become happy." Being pleased, Radhika said, "Now agree to one thing. The flower bracelets on my feet are broken. Please rearrange them. And my hair plait has become loose. Please tie it." Seeing that he had followed her every order, she thought, "He has obeyed all of my orders very nicely. He will never go to another gopi. Come, let there be ras." At that time, the Ras Lila was performed at Chandra Sarovar, and this is how Vasanti Ras is described in Gita Govinda. Although we do not have the qualification to engage in Shravan and Kirtan of this topic, in brief we have tried to describe this Ras and what sentiments of love came in it. Tasting and tasting this, just see how the condition of Mahaprabhu became. It was a wonderful thing. Surup Damodar and Rai Ramananda would describe it to him. "I am only an ordinary person full of anarthas." But in that place where Surup Damodar and Rai Ramananda are describing this, Krishna himself, full of Radha Bhav, will be there as a listener in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he receives so much ananda from it. Therefore, we will silently remember this Vasanti Ras, and when one day genuine spiritual greed arises in our hearts, we will be able to directly serve this Ras. Jai Vasanti Rasa Ki Jai. My God, there's so many monkeys out. Okay, now I'm seeing everybody who's there. Pranams, Madhavi Didi, Manjali Didi, Nitai, Shash Sharmaji, Gargaraj, Ganga Didi, Ladini Shakti Didi, Pradyumna Prabhu, Mantramurti Mataji, Ananda Gopal Prabhu, Sudevi Didi, Champak Didi. Oh, it's yeah. Sorry, it seems like this connection sometimes goes out with this service. All right, so now I'm going to read. It's now starting to get kind of late, so we will definitely have to have another reading because we only read about Vasanti Ras Lila. Now there are 7 other appearance and disappearance days to talk about. Actually, no, 6, because yesterday we read about Vishnupriya Devi. So today we will read about, let's see, who should we read about now? Puṇḍarīka Vidyānidhi, maybe. Let's do that. So let me just find it. I'm reading from this book, Sri Caitanya and His Associates by Śrīla Bhakti Vallabha Tīrtha Gosvāmī Mahārāja. Let's see where is the contents here. Where is it? One second. Okay. Okay, page 90, Shri Puṇḍarīka Vidyānidhi. I'm just going to read from this book. So unfortunately, you won't be able to read with me. Unless I can do it with my phone. I don't know. Oh wow, there's so much about Puṇḍarīka Vidyānidhi. Don't think we'll be able to read all of it. But okay. Vrishabhanu taya khyata puroyo vrajamandale adhuna Puṇḍarīkaksho Vidyānidhi Mahāshaya Swakiya Bhavamasvadya Radha Viraha Katara Caitanya Puṇḍarīkaksham Ayetata Vadat Swayam Prema Nidhitaya Kyatim Goro Yasmai Dado Sukhi Maravendrasya Shishyatvat Gauravam cha sada karot tat prakasha visheshopi mishra Shri Madhavo mata ratnavati tu tat patni kirtida budhai. He who was previously known in Vraj as Vrishabhanu is known here as Shri Puṇḍarīka Vidyānidhi. When Mahaprabhu was afflicted by the feelings of Srimati Radhika's intense love and separation from Sri Krishna, he would call him Father. Gaurachandra was very pleased with Puṇḍarīka Vidyānidhi and entitled him Prema Nidhi, or the treasure house of love. Mahaprabhu always treated him with respect because he was a disciple of Madhavendra Puri. Madhav Mishra is said to have been his expansion. Vidyānidhi's wife, Ratnavati, was Kirtida in Vraj. That's from Gaur Ganadish Dipika, verse 54. Madhav Mishra is Gadadhar Pandit's father, isn't it? Pretty sure. Puṇḍarīka Vidyānidhi's father was named Baneshwar. And there's a footnote, and it says, according to some others, Shuklambar Brahmachari was the father of Puṇḍarīka Vidyānidhi. Shri Baneshwar was a descendant in the family lineage of Shivaram Gangopadhyay. Okay. So Puṇḍarīka's father was named Baneshwar and his mother Ganga Devi. He was born on Vasanta-pañcamī, the 5th day of the waxing moon in the month of Magh, in Chakrashala in Chittagong. His home, or Shripat, used to stand in the village of Mekhala, 2 miles east of the Hatta Hajari police station, about 12 miles north of the city of Chittagong. Vidyānidhi's father was a Varendra Brahman who hailed from the town of Bhagia and the district of Dhaka. Puṇḍarīka Vidyānidhi himself was a wealthy landowner in Chakrashala. And here's an excerpt from Prem Vilas, verse 22. He is an extremely rich zamandar from Chakrashala, but is very pure in his action. He is a Varendra Brahman, whose lineage is extremely respectable. His name is Shri Puṇḍarīka Vidyānidhi. Sometimes he stays in Chittagong, and sometimes in Navadip. He is a disciple of Madhavendra Puri. The Lord glorifies Puṇḍarīka. And I think I'll stop reading after this because, I have to go for a program in Godrum. The Lord glorifies Puṇḍarīka. Shri Puṇḍarīka Vidyānidhi came to Navadip because he wished to live by the banks of the Ganges.
Mahaprabhu, the indweller of all beings, knew prior to his coming that he had such a desire, and one day in the assembly of devotees started calling out, Pundarik, my friend, my father, and was crying. When his associates asked him why he was crying in this way, the Lord described Pundarik Vidyānidhi to them in the following way. His character is quite extraordinary. Just by hearing his name, the whole world is purified. But he dresses and looks just like a materialistic person in the midst of the encounterments of the life of pleasure. No one is able to recognize him as a Vaishnav, yet he remains constantly merged in the deep ocean of devotion for Krishna. He never bathes in the Ganges because he is afraid to touch the holy waters with his feet, which would show disrespect. He only goes to take darshan of the Ganges at night and from a distance. He cannot bear to see people engaged in offensive behavior to the Ganges by gargling, cleaning their teeth, washing their hair in our waters, so he never goes there during the daytime. He never engages in the worship of the deity without having taken a drink of Ganges water. He has homes in both Chittagong and Navadip and will soon be arriving here. Because of his apparently materialistic behavior, you will not be able to recognize him. But I feel unwell because I am not able to see him. The Supreme Lord appeared in Navadip. The Supreme Lord appeared in Navadip. He heaved long sighs because he was unable to see Pundarik Vidyānidhi. One day, after dancing, Lord Gauranga sat down, calling out loudly, Pundarik, my father! Pundarik, my friend, my father! When will I see you? And he wept. That is from Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, Madhya Khanda, chapter 17, verses 11 to 13. It is supposed that Pundarik Vidyānidhi took initiation from Madhavendra Puripad at the same time that Advaita Acharya did. Mahaprabhu always showed him the respect that was due to the god brother of his own guru. In the Caitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami writes, I know Pundarik Vidyānidhi to be a major branch of the Caitanya tree, for the Lord himself cried while spontaneously calling out his name. That's from Caitanya Charitamrita 1:10-14. All right. Do you mind if I go kind of like quite a bit over time? If any of you have to leave, don't totally you're free to go anytime. Srila Gadadhar Pandit Goswami, Mukunda Datta, and Vasudev Datta were also originally from Chittagong, and so they were acquainted with Pundarik Vidyānidhi. Indeed, Gadadhar Pandit's father, Madhav Mishra, was his good friend. Mukunda Datta knew his transcendental personality, and he was a Vaishnava, but Gadadhar did not, even though he was from the same town. This was, of course, a pretense for the sake of Leela. When Pundarik Vidyānidhi was living in Navadip, Mukunda Datta told Gadadhar Pandit one day that he wanted to introduce him to a great Vaishnava. Srila Gadadhar Pandit Goswami was a brahmachari from childhood and extremely detached from the senses and aesthetic in his lifestyle. When he saw Pundarik Vidyānidhi sitting on comfortable cushions covered in sheets as white as the foam of milk, wearing very expensive clothes and perfumes, smoking from a hookah, and generally surrounded by all the trappings of a sensual lifestyle, he was unable to recognize him as a Vaishnava. Indeed, he felt let down. Mukunda Datta could see from Gadadhar Pandit's face what was going through his, and in order to bring out Pundarik Vidyānidhi's inner mood, recited 2 verses from Srimad Bhagavatam that ignited flames of love for Krishna. Aho bhakiyam stanakala kutam jigangsaya paya yad apyasadvi lebe gatem datruchitam tatonyam Kangva dayalum sharanam vrajema. How truly amazing! The sister of Bakasura, the evil Putana, was sent on a mission to kill Krishna. He drank the Kalakuta poison mixed with her breast milk, and despite her evil intentions, awarded her the position of a wet nurse as Ambika and Kalimba in Goloka. Is there anyone else I can take shelter of who is more merciful than him? Oh, for some reason it's not working for Champaktidi. I don't know why. Anyways. So is there anyone more merciful than him? That's from Srimad Bhagavatam 3:2-23. Putana lokabalagni rakshasi rudirashana jigamsayapi haraye stanam datva pasargatim. That she-demon Putana was a blood-drinker killer. That she-demon Putana was a blood-drinking killer of infants. Even though she wanted to kill Krishna, she attains the auspicious goal of a nurse in Goloka because she had given him her breast to drink. That's from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:6-35. As soon as he heard these two verses in glorification of Krishna's mercy, Sri Puṇḍarīka Vidyānidhi cried out, "Ha Krishna!" and fell to the floor in a swoon. He began to roll on the floor in ecstasy, knocking over the hookah with his and tearing his clothes. When he saw these transcendental symptoms of love on Puṇḍarīka Vidyānidhi's body, Gadadhar Pandit realized that he had committed an offense, which he began to regret. He decided that the only way to rid himself of this offense would be to take initiation from Puṇḍarīka, and he related this idea to Mukunda. Mukunda Datta then communicated his desire to Puṇḍarīka Vidyānidhi Prabhu, who happily set a date for the auspicious act. Mahaprabhu also gave his approval, and so Gadadhar Pandit took mantra initiation from Puṇḍarīka Vidyānidhi. In Krishna-līlā, Sri Puṇḍarīka Vidyānidhi is King Vrishabhanu, and Śrīla Gadadhar Pandit Gosvāmī is Radha. Because of Puṇḍarīka Vidyānidhi's identity as Vrishabhanu, Mahaprabhu would call out to him as father when he was himself in the mood of Srimati Radharani. The deep affection from their previous life's relation became apparent between Puṇḍarīka Vidyānidhi and Gadadhar Pandit. No one can understand the pastimes of the Vaishnavas without their mercy. Vaishnava chinite nare devera shakati, mui kon chara shishu alpamati. Even the gods are unable to recognize a Vaishnava, so how can a foolish fallen child like myself do so? Even though Puṇḍarīka Vidyānidhi was a great Vaishnava, he kept it a secret and went about just like a material person. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur warns in his Gaudiya Bhashya to the Caitanya Bhagavat that one could not recognize a Vaishnava through any superficial examination. Krishna-līlā is not accessible to the limited sensory understanding. Krishna's servants occasionally go unrecognized by an external display of materialistic surroundings. In this way, they deceive the conditioned souls. Ignorant critics take Krishna's activities to be those of a material hero because of their materialistic vision, and thus they have no faith in him. Others consider Krishna to be an ordinary man who is born, undergoes transformation, and dies. Thus, they have no idea of who he really is. Krishna's devotees are also sometimes reluctant to reveal their real selves to the unworthy, and thus make a pretense of being ordinary materialistic persons. Gauranga Mahaprabhu is also sometimes called the Prachanna avatar, or hidden avatar. In the same spirit, Puṇḍarīka Vidyānidhi put on the show of being a sensualist for those who are capable of being deceived by someone's external appearance. Once Puṇḍarīka Vidyānidhi came to see Mahaprabhu when it was already quite late at night. As soon as he saw the Lord, he was so overcome by love that he could not even pay his obeisances. Mahaprabhu was similarly anxious to see his dear devotee Puṇḍarīka Vidyānidhi, and he immediately took him to his chest and washed him with tears of love. When the other devotees heard Mahaprabhu cry and called Puṇḍarīka father, and treasure of love, they all knew just how dear he was to him. Puṇḍarīka Vidyānidhi was also known as Mahaprabhu's associate. He was also known to Mahaprabhu's associates as Acharya Nidhi. The Supreme Lord, this is from Chaitanya Bhagavat. The Supreme Lord cried and called out, Puṇḍarīka, Father, today I have seen my own father. Today I rose from my sleep at an auspicious moment, and I saw Prema Nidhi standing before me. It's Chaitanya Bhagavat, Madhya 7, 131 and verse 143. And now what I'm reading is from Bhakti Ratnakar 12, 3177. This is what I'm going to read right now. Shri Puṇḍarīka Vidyānidhi participated in the nightly Sankirtan festival in Srivas Pandit's house along with Mahaprabhu and his other associates. On Mahaprabhu's order, Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakur went door to door to spread the chanting of the holy name and thus to liberate the conditioned souls, succeeding in converting Jagai and Madhai. Later, when Jagai and Madhai were sitting amongst the devotees before Mahaprabhu, they also displayed the ecstatic symptoms of prema. Shri Puṇḍarīka Vidyānidhi was also present there, and he became completely submerged in loving ecstasy to see their great fortune. It is stated in the Bhakti Ratnakar that Mahaprabhu celebrated the appearance day of Radharani at Shri Puṇḍarīka Vidyānidhi's house. That's all from Bhakti Ratnakar. Puṇḍarīka and Puri. On Mahaprabhu's order, the devotees led by Advaita Acharya went each year to see Rathayatra. Puṇḍarīka was one of those principal associates of Mahaprabhu among the party of pilgrims that visited Puri Dham annually. All of Mahaprabhu's servants, such as Advaita Acharya, Nityananda Prabhu, Mukunda, Srivas, Vidyānidhi, Vasudeva, and Murari, came together each year to meet with him, and they would stay 4 months. The Lord enjoyed many pastimes in their company. That's from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya 1, 255 to 256. Now we're reading from Chaitanya Bhagavat. Shri Puṇḍarīka Vidyānidhi was also present at Lord Jagannath's Chandan Yatra festival when Mahaprabhu and all his devotees played in the water of Narendra Sarovar, also known as Chandan Pukur. Puṇḍarīka Pandit and Sarup Damodar Gosvāmī were close friends, and they laughed and joyfully splashed water on each other as a part of these pastimes. That was from Chaitanya Bhagavat. Puṇḍarīka Vidyānidhi also participated with Mahaprabhu and his associates in the cleaning of the Gundicha temple, relishing Mahaprasad with them afterwards. And now Gadadhar wishes to receive the mantra again. One day, Srila Gadadhar Pandit Goswami asked Mahaprabhu if he could hear his initiation mantra from him. He said, "Ever since I repeated my Ishta mantra to someone, I have been unable to concentrate when I chant. Please repeat the mantra to me. Then my mind will be calmed." Mahaprabhu answered, "You already have a guru. Be careful, otherwise you will become an offender to him. Everything I have is yours, even my life. What to speak of the mantra? But as long as your guru is alive, it is improper for me to repeat it to you." That's from Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, Antya 10, verses 23 to 26. Gadadhar answered, saying, "He isn't here. Please do it in this place." Mahaprabhu replied, "Destiny will bring your guru, Vidyānidhi, to you." The omniscient Mahaprabhu continued, Shri Puṇḍarīka Vidyānidhi will be coming to Puri to see me, and he will be here in 10 days. And that is what came to pass. Mahaprabhu became ecstatic, crying, "Father has come! Father has come!" Gadadhar went to Vidyānidhi upon his arrival. Gadadhar asked Premanidhi to again initiate him in the Ishta mantra, which he lovingly did. How can I sufficiently glorify Shri Puṇḍarīka Vidyānidhi, who has a loving disciple like Gadadhar Pandit? That was all from Chaitanya Bhagavat, Antya 1079 to 80. Our most worshipful Srila Prabhupada commented on the above verse in the following way. The above verse means verse 24 from what we were just reading. The mantra is Shabda Brahma, the divine sound that destroys the mental aptitude for sense gratification. If one instructs a faithless person in the divine sounds, the instructor's mind becomes contaminated. If one's divine knowledge of Divigyan is lost due to bad association, then one must seek the same again. Gadadhar Pandit understood this, and so he asked Gaurasundar Mahaprabhu to reinitiate him. Mahaprabhu's instruction, however, was that he should go to his own guru to hear the mantra again. The lesson to be learned here is this. Srila Gadadhar Pandit Goswami is Mahaprabhu's eternal associate. It is thus impossible that any contamination could have entered his mind. Through Gadadhar Pandit, Mahaprabhu was instructing those who want to be who would be a guru that if one instructs an unqualified person in the mantra, it loses its potency and no longer brings the same joy to the heart of the practitioner. When this happens, it is necessary to go to the guru and hear the mantra from him again. It is against custom to hear the mantra again from someone who is not one's guru, because one cannot change initiating spiritual masters in this way. Gadadhar Pandit was only saying, I cannot concentrate like before. Naspure bhalo mati. That is, the ecstatic feelings no longer come when I chant. Out of an exemplary humility, designs to teach humanity how to act. He said that. Okay, Lord Jagannath slaps Puṇḍarīka. We're almost at the end now. This is the last thing. On the Odan Shashti festival, Lord Jagannath's servants dress him in a cloth which still has starch in it. And there's a footnote here. It says, according to Bhaktivedānta Thakur, Odan Shashti takes place at the beginning of winter. This is the first day that Lord Jagannath is dressed in winter clothes. The winter cloth still has mara, weaver's starch in it, and has not been washed. Puṇḍarīka Vidyānidhi did not approve of this unwashed cloth being given to the deity, and so felt a dislike for the people of Utkala as a result, suffered the consequence. So back to the text. Śrī Vidyānidhi was a pure sadachari, that is, attached to the proper etiquette of Vaishnavism. When he observed this custom, he did not feel happy about it and said to his friend Swarup Damodar Pandit, why do they give this unwashed cloth to the Lord? The people of this country know the rules in the Smritis and the Shrutis, so why do they this maruwa cloth to the Lord? Swarup Damodar Prabhu answered that the Supreme Lord is beyond the customary rules and regulations of the scriptures, and that therefore there is no fault. Vidyānidhi did not find this conclusion satisfying, and he countered by saying, that may be true for the Lord himself, but his servants should follow the rules of the scripture. The Sri Vigraha of the Lord is beyond the material qualities, so you can say this of him, but his servants are not of the same nature as he. So they have to judge whether or not it is proper to offer a particular object in the service. Vidyānidhi is Mahaprabhu's dear associate and beyond any fault. But once again, we see that the Lord teaches particular lessons through his devotees. Here he wished to show that we have no right to make judgments or to find fault with the behavior of Lord Jagannath's devotees. That night, Mahaprabhu entered in the dream of Puṇḍarīka Vidyānidhi as Lord Jagannath. Vidyānidhi was frightened when he saw the anger of the Lord. He saw both Lord Jagannath and Lord Balaram slap him on each of his cheeks, and he started to cry out in distress, Krishna, save me! Krishna, save me! Forgive me for my offense. Lord Jagannath said, there is no end to your offensiveness. Just as there is no question of pure and impure in my case, the same holds true for my servants. You are staying here. You should know all this. If you thought that it was impure, then why did you stay at all? Go home and maintain your purity. That's from Chaitanya Bhagavat, Antya 10, verses 131 to 133. When Puṇḍarīka Vidyānidhi woke up in the morning, the devotees saw the marks of the Lord's slaps on his cheeks, which had swollen as a result, and they started to laugh. This pastime shows just how dear Sri Puṇḍarīka Vidyānidhi was to Lord Jagannath and to Mahaprabhu, for the Lord only comes to his dearest devotees to personally punish them in this way. That night, Lord Jagannath and Balaram came to him, and laughing all the while, slapped him on the cheeks. Puṇḍarīka Vidyānidhi felt a secret joy at his swollen cheeks, as has been described by Vrindavan Das in detail. That's from Caitanya Charitamrita, Madhya, chapter 16, verses 80 to 81. Vrindavan Das Thakur concludes the Chaitanya Bhagavat with the following glorification of Sri Puṇḍarīka Vidyānidhi. The Supreme Lord Gauranga called out the name of this devotee, crying, Puṇḍarīka, my father. Anyone who hears about his life and activities will undoubtedly attain Krishna's lotus feet. That's from Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, Antya 10, 183 to 184. Jai Shri Puṇḍarīka Vidyānidhi ki Jai. So that is our reading for this morning. So now we've read about Vasanta-pañcamī, yesterday we read about Vishnupriya, we read Vasanta-pañcamī, and now Puṇḍarīka Vidyānidhi. And now we still have so many left over. We have to read about Raghunath Das Gosvāmī, Raghunandan Thakur, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Śrīla Parvata Gosvāmī Mahārāja, Śrīla Bhaktivedānta Gosvāmī Mahārāja. Oh, did I say Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur? I think so. Anyways, yeah, we still have to read about all of them. So I think we might have to read tonight and tomorrow morning again. So, yeah. So much to get through. So maybe we won't read Srimad Bhagavatam. Let's see how far we get tonight. If I don't get far enough, if we don't finish everybody tonight, then maybe we should just read from this book again tomorrow morning. Thank you so much for joining. Jai Shri Radhe. Hare Krishna Raj Bhuvan Yadav Ji. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol. Jai Shishi Guru Gauranga Gandhar Vikakiri Dhari Shishi Radha Vinod Bihari Ju ki Jai Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju ki Jai Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupa Rashata Rashata Shishimar Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja Śrīla Gurudeva ki Jai Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupa Rashata Rashata Shishimar Bhaktivedānta Vaman Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki Jai Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupa Rashata Rashata Shishimar Bhaktivedānta Swami Mahārāja Śrīla Prabhupada ki Jai Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashata Rashata Shishmar Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki Jai Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashata Rashata Shishmar Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosvāmī Prabhupada ki Jai Nitya Lila Pravishtam Maha Bhagavat Śrīla Goksharas Babaji Mahārāja ki Jai Nitya Lila Pravishtam Śrīla Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Śrīla Jagannath Das Babaji Mahārāja ki Jai
Shri Rupa Nugogoriya Guru Varga ki jai. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopala Padadasha Gunath Shara Goswami Prabhu ki jai. Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda ki jai. Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur ki jai. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जाय श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल ब्रज मंडल मथुर वृंदावन धाम की जाय सर्व अभिष्ट प्रदात गिरिराज महाराज की जाय श्री राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड की जाय श्री यमुना देवी गंगा देवी की जाय श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जाय श्री भक्ति देवी की जाय श्री पूर्णमासी योगमाय की जाय श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जाय श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जाय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जाय समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जाय श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल. Oh, and I forgot. Shri Vasanta-pañcamī Tithi ki jai, Shri Puṇḍarīka Vidyānidhi ki jai, Shri Raghunandan Thakur ki jai, Shri Vishnu Priya Devi ki jai, Shri Raghunath Das Gosvāmī ki jai, Tadiya Shiva Avirbhav Tithi ki jai. Shri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur ki jai, Shri Bhakti Swarup Parvat Goswami Mahārāja ki jai, Shri Bhakti Vivek Bharati Goswami Mahārāja ki jai, Tadiya Shiva Tirobhav Tithi ki jai, Shri Saraswati Puja ki jai. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जाय समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जाय श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल. ओम वृंदाय तुलसी देवाय प्रियाय केशवाय कृष्ण भक्ति पददेवी सत्यवताय नमो नमः. पंचाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. Dandavat pranams, everybody. So I'll see you all tomorrow. No, this evening. See you all this evening. I don't know what time I'll start. Probably 8 o'clock. I'm guessing I'll start at 8 o'clock. So that's in 11 hours from now. All right, Haribol. Thanks for staying with me in this very long reading. We went way over time.